Once upon a time, in a wasteland not so different from our very own, explosive legendary weapons ruled the land with an explosive fist. All players used them in harmony until Bethesda attacked, and these weapons vanished. Thus, we gave them the name of legacy weapons, and all players yearned for these to be back. Until recently, it was just a dream, but now with the newest legendary crafting update, these legacies are now back, but obviously not as strong and broken as they once were. So I know that a legacy weapon isn't a legacy weapon when it's in the game because that's kind of a contradictory statement. So just to keep it simple in this video, I will be calling all plasma or laser weapons with the explosive legendary effect legacy weapons. So here's a little backstory of legacy weapons. When Fallout 76 first launched, the legendary system was a little bit wild, letting basically almost any effect apply to any weapon if it made sense. You couldn't put unyielding on a weapon, but you could put explosive on basically anything. Well, you couldn't put it, the RNG could put it, and you could have a chance at finding a whatever weapon with whatever effect. But these laser legacies turned out to be way too overpowered, and instead of nerfing them and actually fixing the explosive perk, Bethesda just straight up axed them, took them out. Now, thanks to this update, they're back in black, baby. That is right. You are able to put basically explosive on any single laser or plasma weapon in the entire game besides the plasma flamer, unless you mod it correctly. I have another video on that. If you want to check it, I'll link it in the description. All right, so you're probably wondering how to snag one of these bad boys for yourself, and you basically got three options. So let's start off with the most straightforward and the one that I think most players are going to want to do, and that is crafting. Yep, like I said earlier, you can now craft a laser or a plasma weapon with the explosive 2-star legendary effect. Just grab a legendary explosive box mod by either crafting it if you know the plan, or by scrapping explosive weapons to score a mod box that way, and then simply just go to your weapons workbench and then just throw it on there, and it'll cost you some script and the explosive box mod. So that is purely RNG. So you have a, like, I think 0.1% chance to get the plan itself. I believe that's what it comes out to, or maybe 0.2% or something. And then you have like a 1% chance to get the explosive like actual box itself to put on the weapon if you are just straight scrapping explosive weapons. So good luck getting that one. A lot of people don't have it yet. So also, that is probably the hardest way. Crafting is going to be the best way that you can come across it, in my opinion, because if you get the plan itself, then all you're going to need is an explosive bobblehead to craft it, and then just some script, like I said. So yeah, go ahead and obviously try and grind for that. Like when the legendary purveyor has the sale, go ahead and buy as many 2-star ranged weapons as you can to try and get explosive. Now, onto the second way of pulling one of these bad boys, and it's just pure dumb luck. RNG. The RNG gods might just drop a laser or plasma weapon with the explosive effect from any legendary enemy. If that happens, you could tweak the other legendary effects to your liking, and this also may be, this is probably going to be the easiest one, especially if you just do a bunch of events and then farm a bunch of legendary enemies and then also farm a bunch of expeditions. You may just luck out and get a plasma rifle with the explosive effect on it, and then you could throw bloodied on it or whatever else you want to. And then third, finally, is trading. These babies are tradable, but only if it's an RNG world drop. If you attach a legendary mod to it, whether it's explosive or anything else, you cannot trade it or drop it. So even if you change the 1-star effect, the 2-star effect, or the 3-star effect, you will not be able to drop it. So if you put a box mod on it, like the explosive box mod, you're not going to be able to drop it. It will delete the weapon. You won't be able to trade it. Unfortunately, that sucks, but it's a good way of, I guess, fucking over lower level players that don't have access to a shit ton of AFK legendaries or anything like that. So, like I said, you have the first chance of just finding the, or getting the plan from scrapping the legendary explosive weapons, and then you have a chance of getting it as a random world drop from a legendary enemy, and then you also could just perhaps buy one from a player vendor or from one of your friends or a random player in the wasteland. Those are the three main ways of getting your hands on one of these bad boys. So good luck. It's basically all RNG based, or good faith in the Fallout community. All right, now that we went over the backstory of these weapons and then how to obtain these weapons for yourself, let's talk about the nitty gritty, the testing, and what these weapons could actually do. Now, depending on the type of energy weapon you're using, you'll see different results, obviously, but regardless, and every legacy weapon will pack a nice little punch. It doesn't matter if you're using a pistol, a rifle, or a heavy weapon. Me personally, I've been loving my bloodied explosive Enclave plasma rifle. It shreds through basically everything, as you're going to see throughout this entire footage. I also use a nice little Tesla rifle that has explosive and is bloodied also, and this thing is a beast too because the lightning will travel and just blow up multiple enemies. It is really nice and very overpowered. These explosive rifles are now coming to the forefront of the kind of like the fun meta, at least. They're definitely not the best things for damage in the entire world. There's God Roll Fixer could outdo basically almost every legacy weapon in terms of damage now, but and like it always has been. But I mean, they're still ridiculously fun. Now, for basic mobbing, my bloodied Enclave plasma rifle obviously destroys basically anything. Super mutants, ghouls, and scourged enemies. Now, moving up to bigger targets like the Grafton monster or those bloody behemoths, they're still toast. I even use my explosive plasma rifle for raid bossing sometimes if I just want to have a good time, or if we're just running a round with a nice little like mad scientist build on stream and just fucking around and having a good time. These weapons are right up there with most meta guns. Like I said, you throw on a min-max damage build and you'll melt everything in the game basically. Now, from what you could see in the footage, these weapons are beasts, and I'll still be using them every single day. I even throw them on weapons that aren't considered the best, like the Alien Blaster you could throw explosive on now, or even the Alien Disintegrator you could throw explosive on now, and they are so much fun. You guys really need to go out and test them yourselves. I promise you, you will have a great time. Just run a few expeditions, and hopefully you should be able to get at least a plasma rifle or something like that with the explosive effect on it if you haven't gotten the explosive legendary crafting plan or any explosive mod boxes. But this is something you have to go out and test for yourself. It's phenomenal. Now that me talking about the testing is over, let's talk about the positives and negatives. There are a lot of positives to talk about. There are a lot of things to love about these returning legacies. First up, and may I say this is probably the best thing about it, this update revitalized energy weapons in Fallout 76. They were great in basically every other Fallout besides Fallout 76. They kind of sucked besides the heavy guns. It's great when Bethesda brings out an update that actually expands our choices in the Wastelands in terms of weapons. Energy weapons finally are viable again beyond just the Enclave Plasma Flamer. This opens up a whole new set of builds and playstyles. It's a huge positive that we can now make energy weapon focused builds that aren't just kind of useless anymore and just like will tickle the raid bosses. You now can actually go out and kill the Scorch Beast Queen while using a explosive legacy weapon. It's really nice, and it's a good feeling running around and seeing everyone using, you know, explosive plasma casters or explosive plasma rifles or anything like that. It is a really, really, really good sign, and it's so fun to just see and just everyone play around with it. It's nice, and it's like I said, the possibility of expanding our arsenal and making more builds around these weapons are just it's fun. It definitely is a good thing to do on a weekend and just play around with. Now, negatives, there's only really one downside in my opinion, and that's that they're not quite as powerful as they were all those years ago. Don't get me wrong, they're still overpowered and make energy weapons completely viable and usable again, even genuinely good, like I said, but Bethesda didn't want to break the balance or completely disrupt the meta as they normally don't want to. So, they are obviously don't do the same amount of damage that they used to, but they're still great. And as someone who's been here since year one, I could tell that these weapons aren't the same as the originals. They're kind of a cheap copy, but hey man, when you're yearning for that past life, you know what I mean, and this is the only little bit of nostalgia that Bethesda will throw at you, it's good enough in my opinion, you know. So I would say that the positives outweigh the negatives of these weapons. It's definitely not going to change the meta or anything like that, but they're just fun and they are still powerful. All right, so obviously you could tell I enjoy these weapons. My honest opinion is I fucking love these weapons so much. Bringing them back was one of Bethesda's best moves in a very long time. Energy weapons come in so many forms, so this update benefits nearly every type of build. Energy pistols, lasers, plasma rifles, you name it, explosive basically comes through and changes the entire format of the laser weapon field. If you see any explosive energy weapon, whether it's a, like I said, laser, plasma, or Tesla, pick it up. If you have the explosive crafting plan, do yourself a favor and slap it on a bloodied plasma rifle. If you are a bloodied build, you'll love tearing through mobs. Trust me, even I use energy weapons other than the plasma flamer for raid bossing. They might not be the absolute best, but again, they are definitely viable. It is so nice. And if you are a lower player and if you find one of these things just in the wasteland, even if it's just a normal laser rifle that's bloodied and explosive, and if you make a small bloodied build about it, at least just have the Nerd Rage perk, you will be able to basically carry yourself through the entirety of the game. So again, if you get any type of explosive uh, laser, plasma, Tesla weapon, pick it up, please, and use it. You will love it. And if you're out there and a veteran of the Wasteland, and if you come across one of these things, try and turn a God roll into it. I promise you, you will not regret it. You'll use this thing every so often, and it's just so nice to see. So there you have it. Legacy weapons are back, not quite in their former glory, but still an absolute treat for those grinding daily in and out. If you can handle the grind to unlock the explosive crafting plan, like I know a lot of people haven't because it is so hard to get, not everyone has completed all of the legendary crafting plans yet. I still know a lot of people that are missing a good percentage of them just because the drop chances are so low. But if you do have it, do yourself a favor and build out a god roll energy weapon with that explosive perk on it. It's hands down one of the most fun weapon types in Fallout 76, like it was all those years ago. I promise you, you'll probably stick to it even if you run a bloodied fixer. If you throw one of these bad boys on, and if you have a god roll energy weapon with that explosive, aka a legacy weapon, you'll love it so much. So there you have it. Have you tried a legacy weapon yet? Let me know in the comments. As always, I appreciate you motherfuckers for stopping by and watching this motherfucking videos. I will see you out in the wasteland.